Great. Now let's see the second type of loop, the while loop. The while loop is used when you don't know how many times you want to execute your task. Oh, that sounds weird. If you don't know how many times we want to run our task, can we use loop? Yes, of course. Now let me give you one business example. Imagine you have a list of your customer, and in that list you have how much each customer spent in your department store. And now what you want to do, you want to send a promotion code to the customer who spent more than $100. Here you need a while loop. You don't know how many customers satisfied the criteria who purchased more than $100. That's the criteria. But once you found that customer, you want to send the promotion code through the email. Great. So now you see while loop can be used when you don't know how many times you want to execute your command. Now how can we structure the while loop? Let's look at the syntax. In the while loop syntax, you see condition and statements. So condition is used to define whether or not you want to continue your loop. And the statements are the tasks you want to do in each iteration. Okay, let me write a simple example to show you how the while loop does. So imagine now the task is we want to find out all the numbers which is the power of 2, and it is also smaller than 200. We start from the first number, 1, and we show that number in this result list. And every time if this condition number is smaller than 200 is satisfied, we continue this loop. And if this condition is not satisfied, we stop. So let's see what we get. We start from number 1, we print 1, and then number is increased by increased to 2. Number is equal to number times 2. Number becomes 2. And then we go back to check the condition. Number is 2, it is still smaller than 200. Okay, we continue our loop. We continue our loop until the number is bigger than 200. If the condition is false, we stop. So at the end, we get 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. When we get 128, we print 128 and we times 2 on top of 128. We get 256. 256 is larger than 200. Okay, the condition is false now. We stop our loop. So now you see the while loop is controlled by condition. You will do your action when the condition is true, and you stop when the condition is false. Let's see more example. On the left side, you see a new example. In this example, we want to show the numbers from 0 to 7. Okay, how we do that? We initialize a variable which is called n, and we track the condition n is smaller than 8. If this condition is true, we show the number, and we add this n variable by 1 in each iteration. And at the end, we get 0, we add 1, we get 1, and then we get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When we get 7, n will become 8 at the end. So at the end, the condition n is smaller than 8 is not satisfied anymore, because now n is 8. So we stop this loop. So we stop when the condition n smaller than 8 is false. Let's see another example. In this example, we see, okay, we want to show some stars on the screen. We get the number of rows, okay, we get the number of rows, and we want to show the star, and then we show the star in a decreasing order. If we get 5, okay, we show 5 stars in the first line, 4 stars in the second line, 3 stars in the third line, 2 stars in the fourth line, and 1 star in the last line. We can also use the while loop to control what we do. We get this number row from the user, and we assign this row to the value n, and if this number n is larger than 0, okay, what we do, we show the stars. We show the stars by making a line which is star times n. We repeat this star character for n times. If we get 5, n is 5, we will have 5 stars in this line. We show x this line, we get 5 stars. The important part we do is we decrease n by 1 in each iteration. Now you see, we start from 5 and we end when n is 0. If n is larger than 0, we do this iteration, and when n is 0, we will stop. Every time we have this n, we multiply this n to the star character to get a list of stars, and we show it in the result. See, in each while loop, you need to define the condition. If the condition is true, you do your action, you do your task. It can be one line of code, it can be multiple lines of code. But remember, the important part is you need to modify the condition and track the condition after each iteration. What if you don't track, you don't modify, you forget to modify the condition? Let's see this example. If we define a variable n which is equal to 5, and we set the condition n is larger than 0, okay? This condition is true because n is 5, 5 is larger than 0. We do our task. We print push, we print pop, and at the end, when we finish this while loop, we print done. The error, the mistake we made in this while loop is that we didn't write any modification for this variable n. So now let's see, this n will not be changed in this while loop. We just show the push message and the pop message in the while loop. We didn't change n, so n is always 5. So the condition n larger than 0 is always true. So it will never stop. If the condition is true, the while loop will never stop. So at the end, what we get an infinite loop. That's the important message we need to remember. You need to modify your condition in each iteration. Otherwise, the status of this condition will not be changed and your while loop will not be stopped. How can we decide when we want to use the for loop or the while loop? Actually, it's quite simple. If you know how many times you want to execute your task, you can use the for loop. If you don't know how many times you want to run your loop, then you need to use the while loop. In the while loop, you just need to define your condition. You don't specify the number of the iteration you want to execute. So that's the major difference between for loop and while loop.